Mhm. Good morning. This is Mary Lowe, Holly Clemens, and Lynn Davenport with Families Engaged. And we just want to bring facts to you all about all of the extra stuff that was added to this voucher bill or education savings account bill. And in the last segment, Holly talked about the need for childcare. If you take this voucher and you go to a private school, because that's what it is a private school, is the need for childcare, where our public school system is already encompassing all of these things, including a gathering point for families in a community. The public school is the spine of our communities. It's where people meet and how they know who their neighbors are often, and it should not be destroyed. And so I want Holly to talk about what happens in this bill and what they're doing in this bill for preschoolers and the damage that it does.
And remind them what bill talking about and whose bill.
So we're House Bill 1. This is House Bill 1, the 88th session and the 4th special. So that would be 88-4 on TLO. If you want to go search it, HB1 session 88-4.
Texas Legislature Online, House Bill 1, 88 session, 88 4th session, 4th special session 88. Yeah, go ahead, Holly.
Okay, so the preschool. Why are we hearing so much about preschool and pre-K right now? It's because our public schools are not, our local governments are not giving us the product that we want to buy. And they have a ton of mandates from the state that are coming down that are forcing some of these issues upon these schools, and some of them are carrying them even further. And so parents are pulling their kids out. So they have a loss of enrollment. And so they're looking for butts and seats. And so how they're doing that is by going for our 3 and 4-year-old babies to put them in preschool and then in pre-K. And it's really just charity in terms of daycare for these kids. And the data on preschool, it's not positive. And they tried free preschool in the public education system in Germany, and it didn't work out, so they pulled it. And then in the United States, we have a study that was done in Tennessee between 2 groups of children. All of them were low-income children, and they applied for the free preschool. And one group got in, one group did not. And so then the people in the study were able to track both groups of kids. And the kids that did the government preschool, by the time that they were in 3rd grade, they were completely level with the kids that stayed home and did not do the free preschool. And by the time that they got in 6th grade, the kids that had the free preschool were doing worse than the kids that did not. And the IEPs, the 504s, they were all up. The kids being put into SPED, that was up in the free preschool kids, as well as discipline referrals. So our children really need to be at home learning through play instead of sitting in a seat with a paper and pencil and learning something in an educational setting like that. So the data is out there that it's not helping anything. And this bill is absolutely full of backfilling for butts and seats, turning our daycares into learning centers.
Well, daycares are becoming state-owned and state-provided.
Yes.
But Holly just said pencil and paper. Those young children are not going to be in front of pencil and paper. They're basically 1605, the Open Education Resource Bill. There's a mini form of that in this bill for these preschool age kids. And again, that's disastrous. That is disastrous. So there's not, Lynn, talk about the virtual ed piece of this.
Well, I know. Let me just elaborate and what Holly was saying about the preschool. So I remember seeing a report from one of the trustees in Dallas ISD, who's no longer on the board, but she was challenging pre-K because it wasn't that she wasn't for it. It's that there was no evidence of its moving the needle or any success whatsoever. So the same thing that Holly just said is what we found in Dallas ISD. It has not moved the needle. And in fact, it can actually harm if you do all of these things too soon, too early, then you have issues with the behavior. You have issues with them being they have to do things too soon. It's not age appropriate. And there was a whole campaign done by the Commit Partnership, who has its fingerprints all over this bill, the Commit Partnership and Todd Williams. Much of what's written into House Bill 1, the pre-K, the teacher residency, the virtual ed, all of that is driven by the Commit Partnership. But the pre-K part, they did a campaign. They were basically saying, you don't want your kids with grandma or a family member or a mom. They're better off in the government pre-K. And that's actually not true. That's actually false. Children are better off when they're at home from 0 to 5. And then you put them in school,
Yes.
which is appropriate, because so much of, it's too long is the other thing. Now, we're not talking about free childcare. That's a whole separate issue. What they're talking about is curriculum and making the children do things from, at 3 and 4 years old that aren't age appropriate, and the overemphasis on devices and putting an iPad in their hands before they can even talk.
So, and I would submit to you that I would rather see, now I'm not interested in us expanding the welfare state of the country or the state of Texas in any shape or form. What welfare has shown us is that it enables people and it handicaps people, and that the notion of giving a hand up is much better than a handout. But I would be, instead of spending this money for vouchers, I would be inclined to see the government give tax breaks or no strings attached, something so that a parent could stay at home while before their children start school, because I believe the bonding of the family is a critical component to the success of the child in the school. The security that it creates, the emotional security, I feel like that we are creating such a deficit. It's that same old, that self-licking ice cream cone. So I'm going to do a call to action here, and then the next video, we're going to talk about the tech portion and the virtual ed portion of this bill. So please call and let your House members know that there are multiple areas of this bill that are not in line with what Texas wants, and that we are a state that encourages family and encourages unity and community, and that this breaks that apart. And we definitely do not believe that our young children should be institutionalized or on technical device. It seems very much like the stories for years that have come out of China and Russia, and the devastation of the result of those children when they grow up. So please call, log on to
Page 75. Page 75 is when you call, you need to act like you know what you're talking about. So you need to know what page these things are on the bill if you're not reading it for yourself. Page 75 is the preschool part. It's 177 pages, this bill. But I encourage you, when you do call, oh, it's not? What is it? I thought that's what you said.
No, 75 is the autism tech. Preschool is on page 39. It's turning daycares into preschools. That's page 39. And then let's see, where further preschool.
39 pre-K, 75 was autism, which we'll talk about in the
page 134 is more preschool. But where it specifically talks about preschool, I don't have that page number with me right here, but also the data mining. Why do they want these kids? Is because they want the data on these children so that they can start tracking them earlier and earlier and earlier, which is why they're going to put the babies on the devices.
That's correct. Okay. All right. So
so call to action, go to familiesengaged.org, and this afternoon about 3 p.m. we will have the outline. We'll have page numbers for you to reference on there, and also phone numbers for you to call. Thank you.
Thank you.